Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn, and I have for you today a wonderful little knit tutorial. I won't be very long. We're going to get right into the tutorial, but I wanted to show you, Kathy had asked me to make a tutorial of my knitted hand towel, and this is what we were working on. And I love my little hand towels. They are the handiest things to have in the kitchen, and you can personalize them in any way, shape, or form that you want. Now, sometimes I will do a solid border, you know, the garter stitch piece, and then I'll just change my yarn right here as I go from the garter stitch to the stockinette stitch, and then reverse it back. And I have several of those on my website if you want to kind of get an idea of what I mean. But I love being able to just do all kind of different variations. And now that I am making so many different color variations of my market bags, I like the idea that I can do the same thing with the hand towels. So I hope y'all enjoy the tutorial. Here you go. Hi, and welcome to my first knitting tutorial. I've knit for 20 some odd years, close to 30 years, but this is the first tutorial, so bear with me. Crochet, I've only got a couple of those tutorials under my belt, so I'm not a pro at this. But today, we're going to be making a knitted hand towel. You can use it in the kitchen, in the bath, whatever. It will... By the way I show, I usually end up with a 16 or 17 inch wide by about 21 inches long hand towel. I will be using Lily Sugar and Cream. It's a 4-weight yarn, cotton yarn, and it is in the color Sunkissed. You will need your yarn, your knitting needles. I use Chiagu circular needles. My standard is a 16 inch, and it is a 5mm US 8, and a needle for weaving in your ends at the end. But you don't need that yet, so we will put that to the side. Now, in order to get started, I usually do a long tail cast on. You can do whatever method you like, or if you have a preferred method, you know, that's fine. Usually I will go my arm width plus extra. So I'm doing my wingspan now, and then that leaves me with about 20 inches. So let me see what that gives me. All right, that was 18. I know you can't see this all on the camera, I'm sure. 36. Well, it's probably about 45 to 50 inches. And I'm going to do a cast on, a long tail cast on with about 79 stitches, which will give you, oh, and I did this off camera, sorry. I just do a slip knot. And I had to delete the first intro because I was doing my cast on and I didn't have it long enough length. And that is the one drawback with my favorite long tail cast on. Okay, so if you know how to do a long tail cast on, you can fast forward. If not, you can watch. Alright, so I've put my slip knot onto my needle. I use the working yarn and put it over my index finger and my tail over my thumb. and then I just grab it with my 3 fingers. So I go under the thumb, around the index finger, and back through where my thumb was. Let me do that again, it's real slow. Under, around, and back through. Under, around, and back through. Do this to where you have 79 stitches. Usually mine are 79 stitches will give me 16 to 17 inches in width. So, you know, you can try that, and for this tutorial's purposes, that's what I'm doing. I mean, I've made a ton of these, but sometimes I'll get froggy and I'll do 89 inches, and that'll give me about 89 stitches, and that'll give me about 18 to 19 inches wide. But I will see you back here after I have cast on 79 stitches. Okay. You know how I said that sometimes I'll do 79, sometimes I'll add 10 more? Well, usually I do that when I have overreached my calculations. And today is one of those days, because I have a good probably 18 to 20 inches extra. And I could cut that. I mean, I could just leave that as my tail and cut it at the end. But you know what? Yeah, we're going to do that. I was about to say, no, I'll add 10 more stitches. But nope. For the purpose of this tutorial, I will stick with my 79 cast on. Okay. So, for the first 5 rows, I just want you to knit. It's going to be a simple garter stitch. This is going to, we're making our border as we make our towel. And forgive me, I'm not used to doing this so far away from my body. And I don't really know what kind of quote-unquote knitter I am. I think I am a combination of continental knitting and some other version purl. I don't know. Everybody does it differently, right? But it's just, it is what it is. Usually, I'm not a picker. I mean, I'm not a thrower. I'm a picker. I do this. But when the yarn is a little, and it's a rainy day, so there's moisture in the air, and so it's trying to stick. So I kind of help it with my left hand index finger. I just kind of tuck it over there. But go ahead and just knit straight for 5 rows. And that'll give you that made-in border on the bottom, okay? I will meet you back after you've done 5 rows. Okay. Now that we have gotten 5 rows of knitting, we're going to start the pattern for the towel. And this is super easy. It would be more difficult, sorry, I'm trying to loosen my working yarn for my tail. It would be more difficult if we were, and you can always do, if you want a thicker bottom border, you can go as many rows as you want in that garter stitch just by knitting every row, okay? But, and you can do 2 colors. Usually I will do a solid as my border. So here I want you to knit the first 10 stitches, okay? This is going to be your side border. Eight, 9, 10. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right. Now, remember I said I don't know exactly what style knitter I am? Because I knit continental, but I don't know how I purl. So from here, I want you to start purling. All right? And we're going to purl up till 10 before the end. Because that 10 is going to be our other border, the border for the other side. And we'll just knit it. Alright, so I'm not going to make you watch my convoluted purling the whole way. So what I want you to do is go ahead and purl to the last 10 stitches. And if it helps you, place a stitch marker. And in fact, for the purpose of this tutorial, I think I'll do that. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right. So if it helps, place that stitch marker there so you have a visual reminder saying, I need to stop purling. And let's see, I don't have another, well, yeah, I do. Hold on. I can put one right here at the beginning. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. See if I can slide that through. I'm going to verify because I did have to let go of it. 2, 4. Okay. I am having severe technical difficulty. Just so you know, I came back on because obviously I've done a good bit. Oh, before I go any further, I want to show you what the 10 stitch looks like. So you can decide if you do want to stay with the 10 stitches or if you want to do, you can do 5 stitches, you can do 8 stitches, however wide you want that to be. I like it this wide so that I can guarantee it doesn't curl up on me at all. Now, I had originally came back on when I was still doing that very first purl row to show you how I purl and to tell you what I was thinking about while I was doing that first row. When I purl, I keep the tension with my thumb. I've already wrapped it around my needle, but I keep it wrapped around my thumb until I complete the stitch so that it keeps the tension. Now, I've heard a lot of people suffer from uneven tension between their knits and their purls. And this is, I've never had that problem. So this might be why, because I keep that tension on the stitch with my thumb until my next stitch. Some people combat it by having interchangeable needles, and they'll have one needle size for their knit stitches and typically a smaller one for their purl stitches because usually their purl stitches are looser. Mine, I don't have that problem. You know, I can pull off a good stockinette, an even stockinette stitch with just the way I purl. Now, you may not purl the same way I do and still have a perfect tension between your knits and your purls. Awesome. I'm not saying this is why I have good tension between the two. I'm just saying, oh, I just thought of this, so I figured I'd share it. And if people don't watch this tutorial, they'll never hear that insight. And that's okay. It's not the end of the world. But anyway, I'm almost down here to the other end. So I can tell you that my phone quit recording. And so it told me it was out of storage. Alright, so fine. So I just dumped 2,600 photos and videos off my phone to my laptop. While I was doing that, I was knitting. I was like, you know what? It won't hurt for me to still be on a purl row when I'm filming, even if it is a couple inches into the hand towel. You still get the same tutorial effect, right? Alright, I'm almost to that stitch marker. And like I said, you don't have to use it if you don't need it. I personally don't need it, but for the sake of the tutorial, it's easier to say, oh, you have a visual reminder to put the yarn in the back and keep working and knit those stitches. See, easy peasy. Now, that's basically the entire pattern, except for bind off. And I will come back, actually, I will come back at roughly 20 inches. And then we will do our last 5 or 6 stitches. I mean, 5 or 6 rows in the knit stitch to where it's all garter stitch. And then I will show you how to bind off. But go ahead and knit this as long as you want, minus an inch. So I like mine 21 inches. So I'm going to knit 20 inches from this edge, my cast on edge. And then I will knit, like I said, knit the 5 or 6 stitches, 5 or 6 rows, because this is what I did on this. I did the 5 rows down here, and sometimes I'll miscount and end up doing 6 rows at the top, and that's fine. It's perfectly fine. So I will meet you back here. Okay, so here I have my 20 inches, okay, from this very bottom edge, and I want to start my top border, and the only thing you have to do is knit 5 rows. Now on this, you may have to go one step further and knit a 6th row before you start your bind off, only because of sometimes that's the way garter stitch works. But if you want a fairly even border as the same as the bottom as the top, and yes, it's been a few days, work has gotten in my way, sorry about that. So I know it was pretty instantaneous for you, but it was not instantaneous for me. Alright, so normally we would be on our purl on this row, but we're just knitting the next 5 rows, and I would recommend go ahead and knit that 6th row, and I'll meet you back here, okay? Okay, now that I have my 6 rows here, I'm going to just do my bind off. And if you know how to do a bind off, just do the bind off and fasten off, and you'll be done. Alright, so what I did, sorry, I wasn't thinking about it. You knit 2 stitches. You take that first stitch, you pull it over. Oop. Don't lose your stitches. You pull it over that second stitch and slip it off the needle. Then you knit the next stitch. Go in, grab that second stitch. My hands are tired. Pass it over, slip it off the needle. And you continue to do that all the way across until you reach the end, and then you just fasten off. Now, if you'll see, I'm stretching the things because I like a looser bind off. I don't like my bind offs to be super duper tight. make sure I don't lose that. You can see it, and it makes that nice little edge on top there. So do that all the way to the end, and you can weave in your ends, and you can be done. So I hope y'all have enjoyed this tutorial. It's quick and easy. I had to slide that back over there, but I enjoyed doing it. Y'all have a great day, okay?